Agricultural work in Zanskar begins in end March when days lengthen, snow begins to melt and the ground thaws. Agriculture in the region primarily is of subsistence type, and only a few crops have been traditionally grown. Because of cold arid climate, high altitude, extremely rugged and isolated terrain, absence of market. Ladakh is a desert region that is covered in snow for a large part of the year. There is very little water available here. Due to this, there is very little agriculture practiced here, and there are barely any trees here. The main agricultural activities such as sowing, harvesting, gardening, storage, harvesting and yak dung collection are thus limited to summer. Winter is for resting, feeding livestock and celebrating. It's been a while since I've been here, and I've been dealing with a philosophical question. The people here have almost nothing that we at home in the West take for self-evidently granted. There is no sewerage, and the electricity service is limited to the evening. The buildings are freezing cold because the only source of heat is the kitchen stove. There is no possibility of bathing in winter at all. The people here are forced to live in conditions that cannot even be imagined in the developed world. Despite all the difficulties, the people here are cheerful. Back home in the West, people have everything, yet they are discontented, sullen, and unhappy. What is the reason for this? The Western Tibet region is considered an underdeveloped agricultural region in the world. In spite of this, the actual poverty is unknown in the Zanskar Valley and in Ladakh in general. In fact, there is no evidence that people are happier with the advent of the modern industrial age and industrial societies. Moreover, because expectations also increase with the industrialization of society, the archaic micro-communities of villages, families, friends, and relatives that strongly define the character of the region, typical of Zanskar in the West, disintegrated a long time ago and gave way to mass societies. As for me, I prefer a world where a completely different world greets me for an hour's walk, than driving hundreds of miles for the same thing waiting everywhere. I don't dispute that the former is more practical and easier, it just doesn't make sense. Similar to the alpine transhumance, the Zanskar women and children leave their villages every summer to bring livestock higher in the mountains. Livestock, and especially the yak, is of paramount importance in Zanskar. Roofs were piled high with dried different colored grasses to use as livestock feed in the winter. Given the isolation of this region, the inhabitants are almost completely self-sufficient. This lifestyle gives a great independence, though makes people vulnerable to nature at the same time. Nature is cruel, but not evil. Zanskar River, which runs wild through the deep Himalayan canyons in summer, drops as low as -40 C in the winter, freezing its upper layers. There is no such thing as an easy trek in Ladakh. Like a smear of whitewash against red ochre mountains, Kasha Monastery is a jumble of buildings visible from Padam on the opposite side of the river. A paved road leads to the monastery village, which takes 2 hours on foot. I'm walking this road now. There are strong winds in the afternoon, so walk in the morning. I decided not to walk to the monastery, it gets dark early. Besides, I want to get to Zangler village today. So it's time for me to turn back. Zangler is a village in Zanskar tehsil of Kargil district in the Indian Union Territory of Ladakh. It is located 262 kilometers southeast of Kargil city, the district headquarter, 32 kilometers northeast of Padam, the capital of Zanskar, and presently is the headquarters of Zanskar. Zangler is connected by road to other places in Ladakh and India by the New Hampshire 301. The total distance from Padam to Levialincht is 320 kilometers approximately, which ideally makes it a 2 days journey, with a night halt at either Lamayuru or Kolsi. The road from Padam to Zangler is in excellent condition, and it will take you 30 to 45 minutes to complete. After Zangler, the road is still under construction. Padam to Lamayuru road came into existence only a few years ago, but has already been attracting a lot of adventure seekers. We crossed the Zanskar river on the bridge before pivoting, but as you can see, the other side of the valley is undeveloped. I visit Zangler village mainly because of the ancient fort. Apart from this, Zangler village is a typical Ladakhi village. But I will report on all this in the next part. Accommodation options are limited in winter, but luckily almost every household is a homestay here. Thank you for being here. If you like this video, please hit the like button and consider to subscribe. Thanks.